the movie I chose was American Promise because it showed how Sean and Idris navigated their way through a predominantly white school and the challenges that they faced along the way, which I thought was very inspirational and neat to me because I never got to see that point of view being not the majority in the school I went to being predominantly white. So I guess maybe I can definitely see some of the issues that arise whenever I flip the lens and look through their lens. Which brings me to my first theme. It is hard being an African American in a predominantly white school or any other ethnic group in that matter because Sean and Idris had a hard time fitting in at first because they didn't feel equal or they didn't feel like they were treated the same and they really had to work at it. But as time went on, the teachers really started to include them more and started to work with them more and really accept them more. And then I think it's hard enough going to school, prestigious school like Dalton, where your coursework is very challenging and your workload, you have a heavy workload, which is hard enough being the majority in itself in the school just for the amount of effort you have to put in, let alone having to deal with other challenges that you would have to face as a minority in a school like that or any school in general. And then the other thing, it is hard to fit in with your own, I guess, ethnic group if you're around a group, I guess a different ethnic group for so long. For example, whenever Idris played in that Ron Artest basketball league in the movie, he felt like he didn't fit in as well after being going to Dalton for so many years. So he got picked on and teased because his mannerism and his way of speaking was very, I guess, polite and precise, and it wasn't really slang, which the members of that basketball league were using. So I kind of got teased for that. So Idris had to change. Excuse me. So Idris had to change the way that he talked in order to fit in back in with that other group, and it just made him feel uncomfortable. And let's go on population. I think the population most affected, like I said, is minorities because at times teachers don't treat them equally as their peers, and they aren't, and fellows and their peers don't treat them equally, especially. So you have issues of bullying and just feeling left out, and that can just cause all types of psychological and emotional pain for the student. And what myths about education does this documentary address, if any? I think the biggest myth that it addressed is that all teachers are not exclusive. But what I mean by that is some teachers will view other students in higher regards than others, especially members of like their own ethnic group. Let's say I'm a Caucasian teacher and I treat my Caucasian students, I guess, higher up than members of other ethnic groups. That's what I mean by that. And I just learned that that's not the case because these teachers and especially the director of Dalton really tried to help them fit in and help them succeed in that environment, which I thought was very heartwarming. And I feel like that all teachers need to be inclusive and treat all their children equally and not base it off of financial status, ethnic group, what have you, which I think is very unfair. And let's see, the quote I picked from this movie was by the director whenever they were having their graduation, and she said, quote, "We are a white school and it's hard enough having to go through early adolescence, but to be constantly noticed by one factor of your life," end quote. Which is what she's saying is sums up the theme of my story because she was the main person trying to help them fit in, and she really worked hard towards trying to help them fit in and succeed in that school because she really embraced the challenges that they have to face, and she really did a great job of working with Idris and Sean and the parents in order to lift them up and make them feel equal, make them feel like family, and make them feel like they can succeed in that environment.